There's panic on the streets of London. Panic on the streets of Birmingham. Wow, guys, good morning. There's blood on the streets out there. Or is there? I'm just taking a look at the world and watching everyone scream and shout that it's falling down, and it's amazing. Maybe it's everyone's first day in the markets. I don't know. I mean, take a look at this. This is all the interaction going out there with XRP. I normally start my page on this page if you're new. And look at that go. Look how many people are, let's say, buying or selling XRP right now. I think we all know what the answer to that is. People are running from the streets and selling as we crash. And let's be really, really honest, they're a bunch of morons. All due respect to anyone that sold today, but we have been here before. We'll be here again. I don't get it. I don't understand the panic. My Twitter feed is full of people panicking, people that apparently have been around the markets for a long time. I don't understand. Before we get into all that, most of you know by now, my name's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. This is Optima PS Optima, whatever you want to call me. Welcome back. Thanks for coming back. It's always great to have you here. I'm always really grateful for those of you who come back to listen to what I've got to say. If you do like what I say, as ever, please give me a like and a subscribe and share my channel. That's always very, very welcome. But before we kick off, just to say, most of you know by now, I am, in fact, a financial advisor. I've been around the financial advisory market for a long time, but that does not mean that I am your financial advisor. So anything I say or do here is absolutely not financial advice. How could it ever be? I don't know you. I don't know the first thing about you. There's no way I could possibly want to or even begin to give anyone financial advice without knowing you. And if we ever were to work in a relationship like that, you'd sign a whole bunch of forms, and trust me, it'd be very, very clear that I was then in fact your financial advisor. So until that day comes, and I suspect it will never come, until that day comes, all this is just a bloke sharing his opinions and a little bit of background knowledge on the internet in the hope that it brings you some peace and comfort on this awful, awful day, as people would have you believe it to be. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about. Here's the cryptocurrency world, and that's mainly what we talk about here on this channel, isn't it? I do touch on other markets sometimes, but predominantly we're a cryptocurrency channel. Most of my audience tends to be XRP orientated because I'm a XRP orientated person as well. But in this case, let's take a look at the entire market. So Bitcoin, 11, nearly 12% down in the last 24 hours, nearly 1 in the last hour, $53,000, 23% down in a week, and everyone's running for the hills and panicking. Ethereum, 30% down in a week. What's going on with that? Everyone said that when the ETF was to launch, the price would go through the roof. Well, everyone's an idiot. Normally when an ETF launches, the price will crash. At the minute, we've got Grayscale selling. I don't think even the most prominent market for an ETF of Ethereum would have survived this week unscathed, to be perfectly honest. The world is on a downwards week. Strangely, fear and greed is at 42 right now, which is neutral. It's on the very edge of neutral, which probably tells me that some people are beginning to look at this market and think it's worth getting back in again. We are starting to see a couple of little lights in the last hour. Things look like they may have found a bottom, maybe not. Maybe there's another week of a bloodbath like this one. But is it a bloodbath? Is it really? I mean, this is what we're talking about today. I've done videos like this before, but every now and again I want to throw them out there and just say, look, guys, let's not panic about this. You know, Solana 36% down in a week, 13.5 almost in a day. XRP 14 on a day, 21 for the week. Up ever so slightly in the last hour, which hopefully tells me that my little community isn't quite as stupid as everyone else out there. But let's go down. I mean, it's red across the board. Let's be perfectly honest. Let's take a look at what the worst performer of the day is. The best one, 2.3. Okay, Tether Gold, so it doesn't really count. What's the best at? First Digital USD. I think that's another stable coin, actually. But yeah, basically, die. Yeah, well, you know, there's not a lot to be optimistic about in the last 7 days, right? Let's switch that around. Dog with hat that everyone was going crazy for is 50% down in the last 7 days. What does that tell you? Well, one, it tells you that meme coins are a bag of shit. The second thing it tells you is that, let's be really, really honest now, most people who bought that were probably newbies trying to get that $1 billion gain. and they've all panicked and run for the hills right now. But let's go back to what's really important. Let's look at the last 24 hours. Let's just take a look at what we've got in terms of the markets and what this really means for us all. So I'm going to take a look now at a Bitcoin chart. Oh my goodness, look at this. Look how terrible this chart is. You know, how much do you think people panicked on this day in December 2015 or November as it would have been, and things came tumbling off a cliff like this? How much did people panic about that? A lot, I would imagine. Probably an awful lot. But let's zoom out a little bit. Can you even see it? There it is. There it is. Looks like the worst thing anyone's ever seen in their life. In a whole month, it came tumbling down. You zoom out. Okay. Doesn't look quite as scary now. You zoom out. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. Okay, we zoom back. We see the bigger picture on the market. Let's take a look at this. 2018, that was a big one. I was in the markets for this one. That was a big panic day for everyone. Not me, I'd already sold as it happened, but that was a big day for everybody. I'd already taken profits by this point. I didn't have as much back then, so it was more a trading thing for me. And yes, the whole world came tumbling down. But look at it now. Look at it now. You know, we're talking about a price drop from 14 down to, that's a huge drop. 70%, give or take. And then within a year or two, no one gave a shit. Nobody cared. Okay, it was maybe 3 years, 2.5 towards 3 years getting back up. But most people would have bought down this dip. And so by this point, like me, I started buying it around the mid-2019 when I thought we were at the bottom. By this point, when we were back, I was already so phenomenally back in profits. You know, no one was happier than me. We came up here. I sold about this one. I didn't catch this bigger, higher one. I sold somewhere around here, just shy of 60,000. We came tumbling down again, and again, to the person that had just bought here, that would have felt like the worst day on earth. Less than a year, we're back up. Higher, you're back in profit. Okay, not as much profit as if he'd bought down here. Definitely not as if he'd bought back in 2015 on that bad day there. But realistically speaking, these times, they go away. Even this one from 2022, the crypto winter is what we called it. The crypto winter. Let's take a look at the crypto winter. 2 years, if that, before things started picking up. Maybe 3 years, let's call it. But realistically speaking, the point is these things don't matter. You know, let's go look at it a different way. On the way up, we have pullbacks. This looked like 2019, we were coming back up. Boom, big pullback, up, huge pullback, up. Okay, down. On the way up from here, from the bottom of the crypto winter, when things turned around the beginning of last year, I guess, we started to see a slow uptick, plateau, up, big fall off. All these would have felt like terrible days too. All of them. Every one of them. You know, we zoom in. Okay, this chart isn't the best chart, to be perfectly honest. It's on such a long time scale. Let's zip back to a more zoomed in chart. You get to see it more. Peak, trough, peak, bigger trough. You know, would people panic and sold at this point? Absolutely they would. This year's been a good year, right? Huge dip. Realistically speaking, this is what happens. It happens in every world. It happens in the crypto world more than most, but it happens in every world. You know, let's take a look at this. This is a post that I've taken off of someone called Anthony Pan. I don't know this person. Anthony Pompliano. Give the guy a follow. You know, always give a shout out to people when I find their information useful. Let's take a look at this. This is the S&P 500 index, and basically, it's not a very clear picture because it's zoomed in a little bit too much, but this is every time people panicked. This only goes back to 1970. It shows you all the days, all the times there's been mass panic in the markets. You've got all the big days in there. Black Monday, everyone panicked. People killed themselves on Black Monday. That's about 1987 as you're looking at the map. I know you can't see my cursor. I'm circling it, then remembered you can't see the cursor. People killed themselves this day because of what had happened in the stock markets. The disaster that was the stock market. 3 years later, it was back up again. That's it. The dot-com. Well, we're talking dot-com just around the turn of 2001, wasn't it? Boom. Everything came tumbling down. Again, people were unemployed. The world was never going to be the same. The internet was such a disaster. It was the worst thing. The dot-com bubble, the internet was terrible. It was amazing. Again, some people found themselves without work for a while. It was awful. This is the biggest one in terms of length of time, and it was back up by about 2008. So it took me 5 years. In fact, less than 5 years. 5 years peak to peak, give or take. Maybe 7 or 8. Trough to peak, 5 years. These days go away. And this day isn't nearly one of those days, by the way. This would be one of these little tiny blips here that we can't even really see. You know, Boston Marathon bombing. Tiny, tiny, tiny. You can't even see it there now. Yeah, that's about 2014, wasn't it, give or take? When we're looking at all this, these days, you zoom out, they don't make a blind bit of difference. If you are a day trader, yes, you'll have had your trades wiped out. If you're trading with big leverage, it might be a bad day. If you are a hodler, keep hodling. If you've got a bit of spare change, buy a bit more. Can I guarantee you they won't be lower tomorrow? No, probably will, in all honesty. Or maybe will. I don't know. I'm not a day trader either. I have day traded. I know my way around the markets, but I certainly wouldn't dream of day trading the market like this one. But the simple fact of the matter is, it will be back in a short period of time. If you take a look at this post, you know, this picture I found online. It's nothing more than that. I just posted it. But realistically, this is the market cycle. You know, you start off with accumulation phase, trend emergence. You go to a shakeout days. People, oh, the world's ending. It doesn't end. You know, the shakeout, we move forward into momentum building, first sentiment. Then you get what they call the bear trap, which is where there's a rug pull, essentially. Whether it's a deliberate one or whether it's one that just happens to happen. Things come tumbling off a cliff, everyone panic, and that's about where we are right now. I didn't make this chart. I don't know who made it. I just found it on the internet. So I would like to offer my my thanks to the person that made it. I don't know. It's probably been around a long time. But this was being made, I suspect, a different time when this happened in a different cycle with a different market. And someone pointed out that's basically where we are right now. Then things come back again. They hit a bottom, they turn around, optimism removed, FOMO, euphoric. We're on a typical bull market cycle right now. This happens all the time. If we go back to that Bitcoin market, this is the way up. If we could zoom this in on a tighter, look at this. It happens all the time. Big drop off, big drop off. Ooh, bigger drop off. Yeah, that one was probably considered the bear trap of this particular movement. You go back. Let's go back to, where are we now? Let's go back to the last big market. So going into December 2021, huge drop off, huge drop off. Would that be the bear trap? Most probably. These things happen all the time. There's no need to panic. There is not blood on the street. The only blood on the streets is the blood of the people who have sold. They probably bought too high. They sold right now. They're feeling the pain. They may never come back into the market again, but they shouldn't have been here in the first place, because if you panic sell on days like this, you don't know what you're doing. Find a professional to manage your investments for you, because these markets will gobble you up and spit you out. But to everyone else, don't panic. These things happen all the time. They will happen again. Between now and when Bitcoin gets to its high, when everything else that we buy gets to its high, they will happen again. Yes, it's a big one. In fairness, it is a big one. But we're just about to hit that mark, right? There's support here. It was resistance before. It will be support this time round. If we go through, then we might find ourselves coming down further. But I think somewhere around that 52 point, we will find support. Will it be an instant rebound? I don't know. I suspect not. I think we'll shuffle around here for a while. Then we'll go again, just like we have done on all these other times. Zoom out on the chart. You can see it. Guys, that's my message for today. I hope that all makes sense. As I always say, if you've enjoyed what I said today, please do like and subscribe to my channel. Give me a share on social media. That would be wonderful as well. I thank you all for your time and attention. Please don't panic. Please don't sell. If you have any money, buy yourself a little bit more. As long as it's money you can afford to leave there for a while, you will be happy that you bought at these prices moving forwards. Have a great day, guys. We'll speak again soon. All the best.